cared about his kids too. He took care of that Winkellum field down there. Jay, so what a loss that was for Ferris.
Yeah.
But let's talk about positive things. So you went to Central.
Yep.
After you graduated, you got married and had 3 children right away, or?
Yep.
So you reside in where?
I live in Weyman, Beale City.
Yeah. So then you got into coaching right after college?
Right around, well, it wasn't directly right after, but soon after, yes.
Why? Why did you do that?
Give back.
Okay.
Jim Novar was my baseball coach at Chippewa Hills.
Okay.
And, he always talked about giving back to your community and giving back to. So I started at Chip Hills, actually. I was an assistant coach for 5 years. And then the baseball job, the JV baseball job at Beale City opened up, and I got that job, and then I took over the program the next year.
So who was your hero as far as a mentor? They could go either way, as a hero or a mentor in your life. Who installed into you what you are today?
My parents and my grandparents.
Okay. All right.
My mom and my grandma and grandpa. We lived right across the road from them growing up. So my grandpa was a big part of, building and taught me some life lessons when I was growing up. Oh, yeah.
So that was your mother's dad or your dad's dad?
My mom.
Oh, what was her maiden name then, your mother?
Wood.
Okay. Oh, you're related to the Barrington Woods?
No.
Oh.
My grandparents lived in Weyman.
Oh, you grew up in Weyman?
Yep.
Okay, good. So they were, but then as you went into coaching, who did you look up to then? I mean, where did you get it? Does it come from the inner? Because not everybody's a good coach. Where do you think it comes from? I mean, your desire or somebody instilled in you?
I think it's the relatability. That's something that, and I'm sure Bob can say the same thing, is, we try to, we're not about, and people say that, maybe I'm crazy in this, but it's not about the state titles. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about building character and life lessons. That's something we talk about all the time.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, Bob's, being that said, talk about your history a little bit. You grew up in Pine River.
I did, yes. 3 small towns up there, Tustin, Leroy, Luther. Played a lot of Little League. It was kind of unique because each little town had their own team, so we would play against the kids that we eventually would join up in high school and play with. There's a little town called Bristol between Tustin and Luther, and Bristol was always dominant in Little League. And I played for Tustin, and gosh, I know we could never beat those Bristol boys. Good times up there, yeah. I played baseball, football, and basketball. Enjoyed whatever sport it was at that time. That's the sport I liked the best.
So did you have some pretty good players playing with you at the time? Did you guys have a district title up there or anything like that? In any sport?
In baseball, we won. We made it to regionals 3 of the 4 years I played. In basketball, we had good seasons, but boy, we always ran into good teams.
McBain?
Actually, back then, McBain was Class D, and we were C. But yeah, my senior year, we played Farwell, and they had an incredible shooter. I played back, believe it or not, before a three-point line, but this kid was knocking down shots. I swear it was like Caitlin Clark from the logo. They were only worth 2 back then, but oh my gosh, we couldn't stop that guy. They were good. Football, we were just average.
Well, how about who is your greatest mentor or hero in your life?
Well, like Brad, it's family. Grew up watching my dad, a coach all those years. Like he said, even grandparents going over to Grandma and Grandpa's house, hitting the wiffle ball, things like that. Lifelong memories. And just kind of echo what Brad said. It's kind of what draws you into coaching is the relationships with the kids, and it's not the wins and losses. It's the preparation. It's trying to mold them as a team, and I think part of it is you're a competitor. Most coaches I know that are the good ones they want to compete and they want to get the best out of people.
Now, what are you coaching at Morley Stenwood right now?
Right now, just girls basketball. In the past, I've coached baseball, and I did help out with football this year as well. So I coached football with Clark Hunty and back in the 90s, early 2000s. Did some baseball under Ron Ford. took a break from that when my kids were growing up, and then I got back in and was the varsity baseball coach for a while. Now I switched. I've been back and forth between boys and girls basketball, but mostly girls throughout the years. My daughter graduated, and I had a younger son that I wanted to watch play, so I was going to resign and just watch. One of my good friends, you probably know him, Josh Bull, was our varsity coach. Decided to come up to Big Rapids, take an administration job, so that left our boys open. And so I decided, I'm going to be at the game anyway. Might as well jump back in and coach the boys. So I coached while my son was there. Did that for a little bit, I think 5 years, and then got back into the girls.
Boy, it takes a lot of time in your life, doesn't it, Brad?
Absolutely.
Yes, it does.
Which we appreciate in this community, because I think I look at every student I ever asked, I said, who was the greatest teacher you had? And I guarantee 80 to 90 that played sports. And I asked these athletes, and almost everyone will say a coach. A coach meant more to them than any teacher they ever had. Not that our teachers don't do a great job. Their influence on children, don't get me wrong.
Then they do, absolutely.
But something about you coaches that build character more in these students than anything else in their life, it seems like. I mean, Brad, I tell you what, I've talked to a lot of people, and I know people from all over the United States and Africa, and they'll all tell me that Brad Ancliffe is one of the best coaches they ever had, and they just loved you. And the reason I asked him this was I was waiting for that first one to say that you were a piece of bleep, because I can't say that word, can I, Bob?
No, you can't. Thank you very much for not saying
it. How about you, Brian? I've shunned you all morning. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Oh, I want to ask Bob one more time. Bob, you had some state championship with the girls, didn't you?
One, yep, back in 2012.
What was that? Because you had great athletes, or was that pure coaching?
It was zero coaching, all athletes.
Was it?
Yes.
You admit that, but you are a good coach. But it is, if you got the right horse, you can win the race.
Exactly. It's the athletes that decide.
But you do have to get it out of them, don't you?
You do.
Because, over in Big Rapids here, back in my day, we had some great athletes, but they didn't have the heart and they didn't have the desire. They had all kinds of talent. They could have, and I ain't mentioning no names.
That's what it comes down to.
Huh?
It's heart and desire and passion.
It does, doesn't it? You've got to have that. And that little, I shouldn't say little, Riley Vinix from Big Rapids right now, he's got the heart of a great athlete.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that maybe another time. But anyway, getting back to you. So what was it like, the feeling you had? Because not every coach wins a state championship.
No, it's pretty special to
Was
make
it
that run, get down to Breslin.
Breslin,
Yep.
Who'd you play?
We played a team at our Grosse Pointe Leggett.
Wow.
And they had Miss Basketball that year, and she ended up going to the University of Michigan. So obviously she could play.
Right.
I think she put up 43 on us, and we still beat them.
So now I'm going to go back into the memories. Who was your starting five?
Well, I had Elise Stark at the point guard position. Her dad is Lenny Stark.
Yep, I know him. Coached in Everett, didn't he?
He was from Everett. Now he's a teacher at Chippewa Hills. He actually was my assistant. Knows a lot of basketball. Credit him for a lot of things that we got to do that year. Great guy. His daughter was point guard. Gary Cheeseborough?
Yeah, real well.
Yeah, his daughter was a junior. She started. She was the only junior that started. I had Bailey Carenduff.
I know that name.
Yep. And
she could shoot.
She could shoot. She ended up going to Bowling Green to play, and then went back to Grand Valley to finish her career. Great player, great person,
great dad,
and they all were great people. That was that's a whole different show. Right? Yeah. Lexi Hunty, Clark's youngest daughter, great community person now.
Great. Got a bunch of kids.
Yes, she does.
Married a great athlete.
Yeah.
Well, we ought to have some good ones there, but go ahead.
Yeah, we hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Alyssa Nelson, her dad's a teacher. Yep, Dave.
I knew
Nelson.
Dave real well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So we had great families, great kids.
Yeah, you did.
And that was a lot of fun that year.
Boy, what was the record that year then?
28-0.
Oh, wow. 28-0?
Yeah, ran the table.
Oh,
That's
my
awesome.
Lord.
Hard to do.
How did you it is. Now, the next question, how did you keep them focused? Because, you take a good horse, eventually they're going to get beat because they get overconfident or what, and they think there's nothing that compares to them, and all of a sudden you must have been a heck of a coach that year.
Well, like I said, they were
kids.
They were great kids.
But they're kids.
But they are. But boy, they
What's the closest game?
Probably in the regional final. I knew it was going to be a tough game. We had to go down to Kent City. They have an awesome program. Scott Carlson, who's assistant coach now at Ferris, was the coach, and he had a daughter playing. And I kind of projected that that's maybe who we were going to run into. And I know he had scouted us 15 times throughout the year. So we both knew what each other were going to do, and it came down to the last minute. Melissa Nelson put a bucket in underneath, and we won by 2.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was actually our closest game.
What was the final score then in the finals?
In the final score, I think it was 62-57. We hit a couple free throws late. It was a close game.
57, but that one girl scored 43 of the 57.
Yeah.
All right.
I watched that game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, everybody did. Everybody was cheering for Morley Stanley.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But that's what it's about.
Yeah.
You might have your rivalries between the schools in the area, but when it comes down to it, if one of them is going to the state final, everybody else is going to be there to support them. I think that's what's so important about where we live.
Yeah. Hey, now my next question is, so Brad, how many years have you been coaching?
Cool. Jeez.
25.
I don't think I spent that much. Probably close to 15, 17.
So what is the difference? This is a question to both of you. What's the difference from coaching 20, 15 years ago to this day? Are the kids the same?
No, they're not the same. But also, I'm not the same. When I first started coaching, I was a lot more demanding as far as, doing things right, working every day, stuff like that, which these kids still do. But it's you have to. I don't want to say a lot more hugging, but there's there's better ways to get things across. And truly, the kids know that we're in their corner and we support them. And previously, I was loud and I was a barker. And especially last year, this team really taught me that you don't need to do that. These guys are going to show up and they're going to work really hard every day. And when you start to show maybe the frustration a little bit, they see it and they get frustrated as well. So the biggest thing that I took from last year's team is I said enjoy it, because they had been down to the finals the year before, and I watched the state finals and semifinals, and I didn't feel like they enjoyed it. And I told them, I said, look into the crowd. You're going to see people that you probably you don't know, but that you won't see again for another 10 years, or if we were fortunate enough to get back here next year, the year after that, or whenever.
What sport are we talking about now?
Baseball.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But yeah, that's the biggest difference is, it's not coddling, it's just the way you approach things.
But Beale City, traditionally, for how many years now, has been great in baseball?
Well,
unbelievable.
They were even back in the 80s when I played.
I know it.
Their first state title was 93, and then we won it my third year coaching. So 2000, I can't remember. We were back to back.
Yeah.
We won at 13 and 14.
Man.
But they've been competitive for a long time.
I know.
I actually joked, and when I took the job at Beale, I said I got sick of getting beat by you guys, so I thought I'd come over and try the other side.
Right. Yeah.
Because when I was coaching the Chip Hills, I mean, we had some good teams. And Beale always had our number. It seemed like.
Well, we're only 35 miles from there, right? And so when they do go to and achieve what they've achieved, we're proud of it. That we're even their neighbor, aren't we, Brian?
Right. And there's a young man on their team whose dad is a Big Rapids guy too, Rick Smith.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Rick Smith's boy is one of his players, a senior going to Kent State.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I saw Rick here not too long ago and updated me on all that. Yeah. Rick coached a little bit over there, didn't he, right now?
Him and I have coached together. We did travel softball together for a long time, and he helps with the little league programs and stuff.
Well, your girls, let's talk on that for a little bit. You have 3 daughters. Do you have twins?
I do have twins.
That's what I thought. Pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I have nothing in front of me, folks. Nothing in front of me. But it's how much I respect Brad and his family.
Well, I appreciate it.
So your 3 daughters, you have to be proud as heck of them.
Yeah.
Talk about them a little bit.
My oldest daughter graduated from Michigan State. She just is, living in Sanford Meridian and doing very well for herself. The twins. One's at Lansing Community College right now, and she actually is. I got to give the plug, Go Dogs, because she just signed her NIL. She's going to be at Fair State next year playing softball. My other daughter is going to transfer to Central Michigan and finish her degree there.
And is she sports or no?
She was. She had some shin splint issues, she actually signed to play at Lansing Community as well. But after trying to, do some running and stuff like that, she had some pretty severe issues with her.
Is your oldest daughter teaching then up there at Stanford?
No, she actually works at the courthouse over there.
So she was a pretty good athlete too, right?
Yeah, she was a cross country runner. She could run. I don't know how she did it. But.
Well, now they all went to Beale City too, right? No?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So did they go to districts or anything like that during their tenure?
The last year that my daughters were their junior year, we won a district championship in softball.
Okay.
But we won the Highland and stuff like that, which is our conference that we play in.
Yeah.
So.
You got to be pretty proud of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Even though you're their dad, they've overachieved coaching.
Yeah.
Were you hard on them, Brad?
Yeah, my wife and I have numerous conversations about that. How you shouldn't. And it's my daughters understand it. Sometimes, I think we're a little harder on our own kids because we have expectations, and they know those expectations. But at the end of the day, they get the hugs just more than anybody else. But I'm kind of like Bob in the aspect of we're going to be gruff, but we're going to be the first one to pat you on the back and give you a hug and say great job.
Yeah, I know. I watched you, and they're beautiful girls. I may say they look like their mother. Thank God.
Thank goodness.
But they obviously dated. Mm-hmm. Now, how were you to the boys? What?
I felt like I was pretty good. They both are, all three of them. My oldest daughter's married.
Oh, okay.
And her husband, my son-in-law, he's a great kid. I mean, the only thing I ever told him, treat my daughters right. Because if you don't, Daddy's going to come out.
Big as you are, that's why I wondered how the hell I wouldn't have had the guts to date them. Come to the door and look at you and say, "Whoa, I'm staying here for dinner."
They all knew me before, so
you coached them probably, eh?
I coached. No, I did not actually, because Paige, the youngest daughter's, her boyfriend ran track, played track, and played football, and then. Nellie's boyfriend was baseball, but I was doing softball at that time. And then I did actually, my oldest daughter's husband, I coached him in the summer.
There you go.
And I think that's kind of how they met. They met at Michigan State again, but I think coaching.
So we're going to interject here and just remind everybody you're listening to Curry's Hot Stove League here on B1039. And Pat, just in case people just tuned in, let's go around the table once again.
Well, we got Brian Miller's my co-host. Everybody knows Brian. He's running for sheriff again, so we're going to need your vote this fall, August primary, along with some other great Americans running. Look at your post time and make sure you're there. Actually, you can vote right now. But anyway, then we got Brad Ancliffe, a Hall of Famer from Beale City area. Grew up in Weyman, went to Chippewa Hills, was a great baseball player in his day, and probably still can swing the bat a little bit. But more importantly, he's a great father, and I love to hear the stories of families. And, you only are what you produce, and he definitely has achieved that goal. He's produced 3 great ladies to be great Americans. Bob Raven comes from an outstanding family. I've never known him throughout the years only by reading about them and hearing stories about them, but he's a Hall of Famer, too, I'm sure of it, because, when you go to a state championship and keep girls at a 28-0 record for that year was just unbelievable. I don't think there's too many schools in the state of Michigan or in the country that can say that they attained that goal that Bob has. The only bad thing about Bob's got that he has achieved that goal. He probably should have retired the next year and said, I went out the state champion coach of all the girls. But anyway, we're very proud to have all 3 of these guys are on. And Bob, let's talk about your family a little bit. How many siblings did you have?
I had an older brother, unfortunately died of leukemia way too young, and I've got a younger sister who's a lawyer up in Cadillac.
Mm-hmm. And then mom and dad still alive?
Yep, doing well.
Wow.
Still live up in Pine River area.
And then how many kids do you have?
I have 2. I have a daughter who's 26, graduated from the University of Michigan, and I have a son who graduated from Michigan State University, so kind of a split family.
Wow, yeah. What do they do now?
My daughter's actually working for the school. She when she went to school, she thought she wanted to be a doctor. Got to U of M, decided, I don't want to go to school that long. She got a biology degree. So we're fortunate enough to have her at school right now working for us. She's coaching a little bit. We're trying to get her into the coaching. If she chooses to do that, she will be an outstanding coach.
Well, she got the blood.
She's got the brains that I don't have.
Now, don't count yourself short.
I know it. And my son is he's living at home right now. Just graduated from Michigan State, thinking about going to Chicago. He got a degree in communications. But that's one of the things I'm proudest of. Got to coach my kids, and like Brad said, it's unique. I was never really dad when I was coaching. I was coach, and probably was harder on them than others, but they had the mental that they could take it, and it's tough, coaching your kids. Where do they fit in on the team? My kids were hard workers. They weren't necessarily the stars of the team, but they bought into what we were doing, and it was a lot of fun to coach them.
What would you have done if you wouldn't have took this line in life? What do you think you would have been?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think I would have probably got a gas station to grab.
I was hoping you'd say. Well, it doesn't take much of education.
I'm always telling my wife, well, I got great ideas for business ideas, and she shoots every one of them down because they're goofy. But I don't know. I went into business education. I actually taught some business classes, so it's kind of intrigued me. So we respect what you do as well.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you look at coaches, majority of you guys could be very successful business people because you know how to make relationships.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah, positive.
For you and
you
for
got to
us.
make sure that person feels good about winning every day in life.
Yeah.
You guys do that. Brad, what would you have done? You think?
I have no idea. When I graduated from Central, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I did my internship and probation, so that's why I got into that. And then I was fortunate enough, I actually work for Renee Kent at Riverview Elementary right now. And I have great coworkers there. Probably education, honestly. That's what I started with. And then I sat through a class one day and I went, oof. I was in a high school and I thought, man, I don't know about this. So I started with education, and then I switched over to the social work degree.
Yeah, you've done a great job there. I know. I sure miss you. You guys used to all come in the station. That was years ago, though, with you and Emily and John Sacco. And well, you guys, we speak about in the town right now. What's going on. There's arguing over this point. And I talked about on the show yesterday a little bit about that. Now, you guys definitely as coaches have seen that on teams where you got so-and-so ain't getting along with so-and-so. So now to win this game that we're about to play, we got to get these guys united to go on and win this game. Did you ever have that problem in your teams, or have you guys always had a team that gelled so well you never had any animosity or jealousy towards other players? What do you do in something like that?
Well, I've been really fortunate. We probably had some of that, but the kids usually work that out themselves. If it comes to me, then it's usually a pretty major problem. But it's been, in my years of coaching, and I think coaching-wise, you got to build that right from day one, and try to nip that stuff in the bud. And everybody's got to, there's only one ball in basketball and baseball, and you have 5 kids out there, so you got to learn to play together. And it's part.
But
sounds corny,
like that
but
seventh
life.
guy, he's sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
You got to instill it's all a team. Everybody Brad, go ahead.
Well, and that's the buy-in. Ultimately, we have kids. I'm sure Bob had kids on his teams the 9, 10, 11 that probably didn't see the court. I have 12. I'm fortunate to where I can have 10 players play. Basketball's tough. You only get 5 on the court. So I have, when you only have 13 kids on the team, I get 10 of them. I can DH somebody and get them in the game, so I can, kind of keep people happy that way. The biggest, we've done a lot of just not bonding, but just sitting down and talking. There's a lot of that people don't know. And that's something that we did a lot last year of just let's have a conversation. This is not. I'm the head coach. this program isn't my program. This program is your program, whoever, the previous players' program, and the kids that are coming through. How do you want this program to be? We have team rules. I mean, we don't, the hat's on forward when you're on the field or in the parking lot. Once you get in your car and you drive away, you can do what you want to do. We don't, there's a lot of rules, they have to contact me and inform me of not being at practice. Don't tell Jimmy to tell Johnny to tell me. And it's an expectation of we're a team. Not everybody gets to play all the time, but the kids buy into it because they still get a voice. I mean, when we meet as a team and we talk about team, I wouldn't say issues, but, what do you feel? They get a lot of saying, I make up the lineup and they might not agree with it, but, ultimately when we meet the next week and talk about how the week went, they get a say. Whether I like it or not, they can tell me what they want to tell me, and I'm not going to hold against them. Because ultimately, if these kids don't have a say in what happens, you're going to may have more issues.
Brian?
Well, this is the same way I tried to run the sheriff's office. Where I preach family and team at the sheriff's office. Everybody looking out for one another, picking one another up, holding each other accountable. Not bad mouthing the other guy, trying to be there. It's no different. And I think one of the big things, obviously I haven't coached at the level these guys have, but coaching like I have in the bus trips, I would always make it important to me to sit with each of the kids on the bus on the way and talk about expectations in the game and visualize and be, so that we're on the same page together. And I think you ask a lot of these kids one of the memories of sports is the bus trip sometimes. I can tell you, going to a Catholic school, remember dang well sitting there and the coach sitting with you or doing the rosary on the way to the game. I think that's just so important.
How about, Bob, coaching how many years?
30 plus.
Okay. So, any aspiration on going to college? Have you ever thought of that over the years, or are you content where you're at?
I'm pretty content where I'm at. Yeah. I mean, if that opportunity ever came up, and I'm getting pretty long in the tooth, I might consider it. But no, I'm pretty content where I'm at.
Yeah, big different league. How about you, Brad? You could have probably been sought after from some colleges for you're winning your football like you do in baseball too.
Yeah, more for baseball than.
Okay,
but
really?
I still have another job to do. So,
right.
And that's what pays my bills.
Yeah.
I don't know what Morley gets, but it's basically by the time I pay for gas and I buy kids food or whatever it is.
Right.
You definitely don't coach for the income. It's not that. Even some of the college jobs that people I've been talked to about, they don't get,
All right, so now saying that, how come we got thousands of teachers that are great teachers, and I know only so many you can coach, but it's very minute number of coaches. What separates you guys from a normal teacher? What do you think it is? Because you're good athletes? There's a lot of teachers that never coached that were great athletes too. But what do you think it is?
Probably not having an outstanding wife that allows. Seriously. My wife is. We talk about coaches' wives,
right.
and it's the coaches talk about that. My wife, it was when we're traveling and I'm at baseball or I'm at football, and at one point I was coaching all three sports. I was coaching football in the fall, girls basketball in the winter, and baseball in the spring. I did it 2 years and I couldn't. It was too much, but. My wife Lisa is there's a lot of, me sending the text and saying I'll be home in 15 minutes, and she knows that could be an hour. Yeah. So she's our wives, our families. My daughters, the commitment that they gave me to be able to coach boys. Mm-hmm. I'm on one field, and my oldest daughter, who was playing softball as well, she was on another field playing. And it's huge. We talk about our commitment, our family's commitment to us coaching. is beyond anything that we do.
Well, on top of that, Andrea coached for. You guys were both coaching.
Yeah.
You know, so
coached
his wife,
softball
Andrea-
for years, and she's still coaching basketball some too. So
Yeah, so to be both at the same time.
our
is-
kids saw a lot of gym time, a lot of field
Wow,
time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's your wife's maiden name?
Watrous.
Where's she from?
She's from Leroy area. Yeah, as
Oh,
well,
okay.
yeah.
So she coaches where?
She coached at Morley Stanley. She's
high
a
school?
teacher down there. Yeah. Yep.
She was the varsity
she was
girls
varsity.
coach for a number of years.
Yeah. They had a good run, and then
But it's in the blood, isn't it? Though
Yeah,
once you
it
get
is.
that ability going, it's in your blood to coach, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. I think we have. I mean, Bob's been to the state championship game. I've won it. I've been there, fortunate enough. And
Right.
but it's for us. I think it's not the state championship. It's seeing these guys. I remember last year when we won it in baseball. I stood in the dugout and I was a mess because I watched these kids that their dream for since 10U, 9, whatever, was to win a state championship, and they reached that goal or that dream, and it's fun to see that. And I'm hoping that we get another opportunity to do that and watch these kids celebrate on the field after they win.
I got to tell you one quick story about Beale City baseball. This rep I had from, I think it was, it doesn't matter, milk company, Behrman's. Anyway, Mark was his name. You probably knew him. He's from Beale City area. Very much involved with baseball program or the little guys. And my little Matt and Adam played baseball. And Kurt Dabowski and Jeff Schmidt from Ferris football back in 94-5 probably it was. And we had a pretty good team. Actually, we were very proud of our team. Jeff Schmidt was a hell of a football player at Ferris back in the championship days, and Kurt Dabowski. So they knew how to win. So I got those two to coach for me. And I got scheduling the program who we played. And I'll never forget, I invited this Mark. Mark, I was talking to him. He was my salesman. I was talking about how good a baseball team. He goes, oh, you got a good baseball. I think it was from Shepherd, actually. Now I better correct myself. Doesn't matter. It was from that area. And he said, well, how good do you think you are? And I said, well, we haven't been beat. He goes, well, we'll come over and play you. And I said, what's that mean? He goes, we got a hell of a program. I said, really? I think it was Beale. But anyway, so he brings them over here. And I'll never forget, our boys went up to bat and swung 3 times and came back, and at the end of the day, our tails between our legs said, we got to get back. These guys were good. And they end up being right into the...
Well, and it might have been Shepherd, because there was a year or two that, like when we won it in 13 and 14, Shepherd won it as well.
Right.
So Shepherd, the one year, their 3 Isabella County schools were down playing for the state championship in baseball.
That's awesome.
Right.
Mount Pleasant,
Yeah.
Shepherd, and Beale City.
It might have been. I can't remember. I think it was Beale, though. But the reason I say Shepherd, because I remember when Adam played baseball for the Cardinals, they had a pretty good team back then. We were very competitive. And we went over to Shepherd, and we found out what competitive was all about. Those guys were like pros over there.
But that's what you have to do. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Our schedule this year, last year we lost. The only loss we had to a Division IV opponent was our first game of the year. We play up. I mean, I know Bob plays up.
Yeah.
When these kids, and that's another reason why I think when we get to the tournament run, I feel like we're a little more successful because the kids have played tough competition.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, our schedule this year, we play Okemos, a Division I school. We picked up, Palmer, Westphalia. We played tough competition. And I know, in talking to JT, he's doing the same thing and just trying to play up and play better teams. And, it doesn't mean a lot. I feel like it does. But
it does. It
Yeah.
does, for sure.
Well, once again, we got Bob Aldridge here in the studio this morning. I know we're kind of going on a little. Goes by so fast. We could talk all day. And Brian Miller, Sheriff,
We're
Bob
changing our
Raven.
format. We're all sports. Actually, we're all Pat all the time.
Brand Ackler.
24/7 Pat.
But we got a big game tonight. I know you guys are aware of it. Cardinals are playing the Coyotes up there in Reed City.
does that work that's for the conference championship?
Yeah.
It's a conference tournament.
That's
yeah.
what, okay.
Yeah, it's not the district, eh?
No, that starts next week for the boys.
Oh, okay.
So our league, the top 4 teams face off, and Big Rapids won and Reed City won. So now they're going at it for the league tourney champ tonight.
And the districts are next.
And then the MHSAA starts next week for the boys, and the following week for the girls.
Okay, well, thanks for confirming that. 'cause
But it's still a big game and a big rivalry.
It's a big rivalry. Brennan, Brennan Walsh.
very well, yeah.
Boy, he's a heck of a coach, turning them people up and Reed City. But Brad, you touched on something that Brennan has done. and that has gone down to the lower leagues
Yeah.
and told them, this is our program, buy into it, we can win. And Reed City has just achieved what they were going to do this year, I think.
They've done very well.
Yeah, they
Yes.
have. And you know, something about you guys and Brennan, I put him up on that league with you guys. Great people with great blood in you, and the championship blood that you have in them. I mean, Brennan, to me, I wished he could have stayed with the Cardinals, but unfortunately that didn't work out. But that's another matter, and we'll talk about that on our next show, maybe, Brian. That would be a good show, wouldn't it? But anyway, maybe we'll have you two back here. But anyway, what else can you say about your lives or about your the children today? I mean, you know, everybody says the kids are lazy, the kids are this. I don't see that. I see a lot of good kids out there. You know, it only takes one bad apple in the barrel to spoil it all, and that's kind of happened in our world today. But the other thing I wanted to ask you is, if you look at what you've done to the diversity between people, how do you get people to connect back that are fighting amongst each other? We have that in our community right now, and I really am saddened because there's nobody that I hate. There isn't. Some people have disappointed me, but my God, we got great people on both sides. What do you say to them, Bob, to get them back together? I mean, what? Get off Facebook?
What's that?
Get off Facebook?
Yeah, that would help. You know, kids are kids. They've got a lot more technology in front of them today, but the bottom line is there's still kids growing up, and it starts with parents. It really does.
Yeah,
I think we've had some great parents involvement down at Morley Stanwood, and it's tough. They got a lot of stuff that can pull them away from athletics or whatever. But
you know, I'll tell you what, I'm good at interrupting.
Yeah.
You can't tell me how to interrupt. And I'll tell you, just this being said about parents and stuff, the Hunty family,
yeah,
what overachievers they are. You know, my hat's off to Clark and his wife. That Tyler Hunty, he's up and coming entrepreneur here in Big Rapids. They've got out on the limb. They're buying businesses. They just bought CK's place down there. I went down for their Valentine's dinner they had down there on a Wednesday, Valentine's Day, and they're just really nice people. And that, like them or not, I love them to death, because if you look at Alexis and you look at her sisters and the brothers, I think there's 3 of them, they're all good Americans making America better. They go to the grindstone every day and work. It's a pretty simple life, isn't it?
it is.
They're grounded.
Yeah.
Huh?
They're grounded.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to say that about the Huntys. I just think the world of them. And he was a great coach.
Yes, he was.
Hunty.
Yep. And
Yeah.
we're good friends, and I watch those kids grow up. And
Yeah.
just see
You
what
guys
they're doing.
traditionally have had locals be your coaches, haven't you? Look at
Yeah.
Ron Ford.
Yep, he grew right up there. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he was probably, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, definitely.
definitely.
In baseball, he is for
Yeah.
sure.
And then he got you, not very far from Morley.
Right. Yeah.
And then you got Brad over there. And you know, Brad, I wanted to touch, I knew some people that knew your dad, and they said did he have records in school of track?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, they said that he was probably the fastest guy. He grew up in Barrington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
And I know Hanson's and all those guys over there. Of course, everybody knows Williams. But I always, behind every good athlete, there's blood. There's blood in there. And your dad, I guess they said that he just, what an athlete. Fast, very fast. Yeah. But anyway, that being said, Bob, we've kept everybody here too long, probably, haven't we?
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
What's your favorite song, Bob?
Oh, that's putting me on the spot.
No, that's right. Brad, think about it.
Yeah.
Huh? Be humble and kind. What do you guys play at? We can't play those songs.
Yeah, you ever try to listen to the warm-up songs the kids play nowadays?
No, I don't want to listen to that.
Try not to.
No. But we're going to leave us with a song. Brian, what else? Finish it up here. What do you think?
No.
It's been a great show, I think.
It's been a great show. I knew it would be when we reached out to these two.
Yeah,
you know, after our first show, I thought was successful, and I thought these are the next 2 guys that I thought would give a lot of information and be worthwhile to have on.
Any
lot of
being
experience.
that you're both great parents. Any comments on being a great parent to the parents out there listening today, how to raise their kids?
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to tell anybody how to raise their kids, but
Nah, how did you do yours?
Communication.
Yeah, there
And
you go.
that's
Thank you.
And we're open I mean, my daughter's probably telling me too much, but which is good. Just communication. I think that communication can solve a lot of problems.
How old should a kid be to get his first phone?
Oh, I don't know. We wait
32.
There you go, Bob. Thank you. It's about the truth. And how old do you think they should be to have their phones taken away? I'm old. I think my phone's about ready to be taken away.
You can take mine.
How about you, Brian?
My kid didn't get his first phone until he was 14, like going into high school.
We
'cause
did junior high for the fact of
14.
on the bus.
Yep.
Because I mean,
Just
our kids-
communication with us more, and it doesn't need to be anything special.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I'm trying to stay off the radio just for 2 seconds here. I want somebody to say something. No, I love America, and I know you guys do. You've been passionate about America, and I really appreciate what you guys have done for our area. Because if it wasn't for you guys, we'd have a lot of kids in trouble right now. And I always tell everybody, even if you're the 15th guy, you'll learn more in that sports program than you'll at any educational institution in your life, right? You learn communication, teamwork.
Steve Lover and I just had this conversation. He was leaving about the life skills that people learn from playing organized sports. And I think I've said this in the past. In my profession, I can point out the individuals that didn't play team sports growing up, because they're all individual about themselves and not what works best for us as a team.
Yeah.
It's very obvious.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you only play up to 8th grade.
No.
But you're learning something in that 8th grade. I remember I was telling Bill Scheibe this morning, we had Jim Walls for a football coach at St. Mary's, and we had a pretty good team. And whenever we lost, you know what he made us do? Get on our stomachs, crawl on our elbows, only using your elbows, not your legs, to the 50-yard line and back. And our parents sat there and watched us. Well, you know what? I remember that. Huh? And it didn't kill me.
Nope.
I still hate the SOB, but I'll tell you what. No, but I tell you what, you guys have made a big influence on a lot of kids. I know that. And then the next time, I would love to have a player of yours come back and we could talk about where they're at in life and why they're where they're at. Yeah. But Brian just thought of you too, and I'm glad he got you both on here this morning. And I hope everybody out there that is listening has maybe learned something from what Bob and Brad has said this morning. And if not, I hope you enjoyed the conversation, Bob.
I do have something.
Yeah.
With baseball, Major League Baseball is going to be starting. So this is my favorite time of the year. You got March Madness, you get through the winter, and then you got baseball starting. There's no better time over the next 4 weeks, I think, 5 weeks that we have.
Yeah.
And I think the Tigers are going to surprise some people this year.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Go Tigers.
And then one other thing, Bob, as a closure tonight, the Cardinals go at each other tonight. Please refrain from what you're thinking about saying, because remember, there's somebody always filming you up there in the stands, right?
Yeah.
So don't be hollering obscene things tonight. Coyotes are great people up there. I love people in Reed City, and I love people in Big Rapids. Be respected for both teams. Thanks.
And we got Ferris playing tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, they're playing.
Grand Valley. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Who are they playing?
Grand Valley. Yeah.
No, not Grand Valley. They're playing Allendale Tech.
Oh, great. Oh, wow. Wow.
Shively informed me this morning him and his daughter are going down to Allendale to the game. And in my simple mind, I thought he was talking about Allen Park.
Yeah.
I said, who in the hell's in Allen Park playing the basketball against Ferris? He goes, Allendale. I said, who's Allendale? He goes, that team, the team down by Grand. He does not say Grand Valley.
It's like the team from Ohio. It's like the team from Ohio.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
so
Lord,
wiping
I
out all
love
the
him.
M's, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're taking on the devil.
And then Ferris
Satan
Hockey's
himself.
home this weekend,
Oh,
too.
my Lord.
Ferris Hockey's home this weekend with Northern Michigan, who's a good team. So
All right, when's that, Brian? I interrupt.
Friday and Saturday night. I think
All right.
it's Friday at 7 and Saturday at 6.
Then basketball, Grand Valley tonight.
Yep.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
Oh, yours. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, then how about high school hockey? You guys going in the tournament?
We are down. We have our regional semifinal against East Grand Rapids Saturday at 7:30 down at Southside,
That'd be good.
which is in Byron Center. So
Yeah. Well, okay, Bob, we're going to wrap it up
All
with.
right. Thank you very much.
Oh, I know what song I want you to play. I put it down on my notes here, Bob. Let me
Okay.
get to it here.
This will be about 30 minutes. So
Oh, Johnny Cash,
Yeah.
Rugged Old Flag.
Okay.
Boy, that's a good song, old Johnny Cash, huh? Sums up the world today, huh?
Yeah, let me find it. Give me a
Put
second.
that on there. Yeah. Not the pit bull.
Not
Yeah,
Pitbull.
right.
No. Bob likes the pit bull.
Yeah, no.
I introduced you guys to Bob.
Seeing
didn't I?
that.
Yeah.
Hold on. I gotta do this. So hold on.
Yeah, that's
Hold on.
right.
Give me a second.
Brad, anything else?
No, thanks for having us.
Oh, God bless you.
Thanks for what you do.
Oh, Al.
You're
Just
a
a
leader
gas
in Big
station
Rapids.
guy.
No, you're not. You're a lot more.
I
than that.
love people. I tell you what, I love them. You know, I love it when people pray for me because I say they're answered. I'm living a good life. God's granted me a great life, you know, and had a great ride so far. And I just can't believe I'm 70 years old. But what I've endured is unbelievable. I should have been gone a long time ago. But I think I live my life like every day might be the last one. Because look at your brother.
Yeah.
How old was he when he passed?
Low 40s.
Yeah, isn't that sad?
Yeah.
I had my best 5 friends I ever had are all gone, and the oldest one would be 48. And the first one left in 2nd grade in a tragic car accident down there in Devil's Curves. You know where they call it Devil's Curves, south of Morley?
Okay.
That was Devil's Curve. That was back for the highway, and that S curve in there, and there used to be a restaurant on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
My dad and I used to go down there on Friday nights to pick cars up.
Really?
People were head-ons, you know. Everybody had to pass right on that curve. And unfortunately, Johnny never made it to school. But, yeah, life goes on. So God bless America, Bob.